Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Chris Arnold. And as always, we're super excited for you to be with us today. Okay, you guys have been asking me about this. You guys know that we launched a radio about a year ago. Of course, it's gone bonkers. I got a text this morning, another student thanking us for how big of an impact radio's been. But you can imagine the follow-up question that comes with radio all the time is, Chris, what about TV? And so I really wanted to focus this year on radio, making sure that we have been delivering you guys just, an incredible opportunity and making sure we help you get it set up. But everyone keeps pinging me, TV, let's go. It's 2021. So I've done a lot of research and I wanted to find someone that literally had the same amount of experience and background as I have on radio on TV. I've been doing radio for literally 10 years, and I wanted to find someone that's been doing it that long, that has rode that wave and seen returns and have data. And more importantly, this person I began to talk to, and I'd say, you know what, there's a big need for this. And I'm telling you, in the wholesaling Inc. community, there's some people that are ready to rock and roll on some TV. And so guess what? It's here. We're going to talk about it. Can you believe it? I'm actually doing a two-part series. I've not done this before because there's so much for us to lay out. And just get ready. We're about to talk about another marketing channel like radio that everyone knows about. And guess what? Nobody is doing it. So Tony Javier, welcome to the show, buddy, man. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. You and I are like, I'm in a little mastermind that you do. I've spent a lot of hours just kind of sizing you up. So this isn't like a new thing. We've been talking quite a bit. So man, excited to have you on, man. Welcome, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, man. This is exciting. This is the podcast of the year, man. I'm telling you, I'm super excited about this. I'm not just saying that. Seriously, this is something I've been looking forward to for the last few weeks since we had this scheduled, man. I'm ready to rock this.
Well, it's a game changer because the reality is most things are oversaturated right now. People that are listening right now are tired of a lot of the outbound stuff that requires a lot of time, particularly if you're working a 9 to 5. So text blasting, RVMing, it's the same thing over and over. We're actually coming in to talk about a marketing channel that there's virtually no competition on as well. So let me back up though. Let's start with some credibility, right? Because I'm listening. I'm like, all right, who's this Tony Javier guy? How long you been in the game? Tell us a little bit about your business. Like, what are your credentials here for you as Tony Javier as an investor?
Great question. Yeah, I've been in the business 20 years. Got into the business by buying a course called No Down Payment by Carlton Sheets. A lot of you guys have probably heard of that.
Hey, that's old school.
In the day. Total old school, man. Bought that course, listened to the CDs, and just got jumping into the game. So since then, I've done close to 1,000 flips. I've got a large rental portfolio. I've got co-working space. I've got a lot of real estate-based businesses. I only work a few hours a week on my real estate investing business. Part of it is because of TV. It's so automated. But the other part is I just have a phenomenal team that's behind me doing my deals for me. So this allows me to do.
Sounds like me, man.
I didn't move to Mexico, but I didn't quite get to Mexico, but I'm.
Yeah, I was saying, but I get it with radio, you get it with TV. I mean, that's funny. I'm laughing at the similarities because if you hear my story, it's pretty much like that. I spend a few hours working on the investment side, lifestyle, but you said it, and we're talking about because there's a marketing channel that gives you that type of freedom. And it's funny that we're sitting somewhat in the same position, but mine happened through radio and yours happened through TV. I'm just connecting the dots. I think that's hysterical.
I made it from Kansas to San Diego. I didn't make it quite as far south as Tulum, Mexico. So you may be a little up on me there.
Bro, San Diego, I'm telling you, again, a couple cities in the U.S. that I would want to live in. I got some boys out in San Diego. I go out and visit. San Diego is a cool city. And you guys literally have some of the best weather in the entire United States, which is awesome. So how did you come across TV? Because people ask me about radio, like, Chris, you've been doing it for 10 years. You were over here when I started radio 10 years ago with TV. Like, how did you come across it? Like, where did this marriage and discovery begin?
Well, I've got two stories. So I technically started in 2005 doing TV. I don't know if I told you this or not, Chris. I did TV for 3 months. At the time, I'd only been in the business for 4 years. And so, spending a few $1,000s a month was a lot of money to me. So after the third month, I'd spent almost 10 grand. I stopped the commercial. And then all of a sudden I got my first deal, made some money on it, and I got cold feet and stopped it. One of the biggest mistakes I would say I've made in my career, because I missed 7 years of deals, credibility, branding, everything that we're going to talk about today, that I wish I had back. Right. So 2012, I'm playing poker with a guy that was crushing it on TV for a contracting business. I had seen his commercials, and honestly, he was kind of celebrity status to me in a way, because this is the first time I'd met him. But I'd seen him on TV, right? So I'm like kind of semi-celebrity, right? And he's like, dude, you got to call my media guy. You need to get your brand on. He's like, I see your social media, I see all your stuff. You need to get on TV. Long story short, called his media guy. We've been doing commercials for 8 years. Most consistent marketing method that I have. Most critical. I mean, we're going to get into those, all the benefits of it. But one of the best things that I've done for my real estate business. All the other marketing channels have kind of been up and down. TV has been by far the most consistent.
So funny, like literally you're saying exactly what I tell everyone, because I tell people the thing I love about radio the most is it's been the most consistent. And again, watch as we talk. The parallels between radio and TV are very similar. These are like cousins to each other. And so that's why you're going to see a lot of the overlap that it's funny in your world, Tony, you've been experiencing, and I've experienced on the radio side. And it's like we kind of discovered each other. It's like, oh, you get that with TV? Well, I get that with radio. Oh, you know what I'm saying? It's just like this is back and forth. And so that's what we're going to start with today. Here's what you're going to get. We're going to talk about the 10 benefits of radio. And in this part one, we're going to go with 5, and then we're going to roll over into a part 2. So let's get into the meat, right? So the first one is credibility, right? I refer this to celebrity status, but here's my question, Tony. What type of credibility, celebrity status, what does this do for a brand when it comes specifically to television? When people see your ads on TV, what do you see here?
Yeah. Well, by the way, you said benefits of radio. We're talking about TV now. I do the same thing.
It's so funny because I've been saying radio so much. So yeah,
I've been saying, yeah, I say radio and I mean TV sometimes too. Yeah. So credibility. So just like I told you, when I went and played poker with this guy that'd been on TV for years, it was like I had known the guy, right? So TV, they see you, they feel like they know you, and it just builds so much credibility in their mind. I mean, think about the big brands out there. Why are they on TV? They are on TV because when you go to the grocery store, when you go drive down the street, when you see their brand, they want you to buy their product. They want you to, it's kind of like cereal. When you go to the cereal aisle, typically you go to the name brands, don't you? You go to the brands that you've seen on TV, that you've seen since you were a kid. And you don't usually go for the cheap brands unless you just, you're wanting to save some money, right? TV is the same way. It just builds so much credibility. When you meet with people, they feel like they know you. And it's interesting because so I live in San Diego. I invest in Wichita, Kansas. That's where I do all my TV commercials.
Wait. I want to make sure they caught that. So you're actually using TV in a market that you're not even in.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just want to make sure we caught that. I don't want you to fly past that. All right. Keep going. That's interesting.
Yep. So I go to, I don't go quite as often because of, all the stuff that's been going on. But when I do go back to Wichita, every time almost someone will say something like, you're the guy on TV. You're the real estate guy. Man, I swear I recognize you. I get that all the time. And all of a sudden, like they realize like, oh, you're that guy. And then all of a sudden it's like, they just start talking and opening up to me. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Some people will be like, oh, you're a celebrity. I'm like, once they pay me to be on TV, I'm a celebrity, but you can call me celebrity if you want to.
Absolutely.
So people just feel like they know you.
Yeah. Do you find the way I like to describe this, and I'm curious to exchange some language. I might call it one thing, you might call it other. I feel like what you're talking about with TV is what we refer to as authoritative marketing. It is a marketing channel that makes you almost instantly an authority in your market. Is that what you kind of describe it as with TV? When you go back, like you feel a sense that I have authority in the city because I'm on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. People respect you way more when you are on TV and they've seen you many times on there. People will call me up or, talk to them about, because I do funding for people as well. So I started funding deals in my market and other markets throughout the country. And when I talk to people in my market, they're like, man, I've seen you on TV for so long, so much respect. Like they're just like not bowing down, but they're like, feel like, they feel like they're talking to someone like that's, just way, way above them. Right. And I'm just an average guy like them, but I'm on TV. Right. And I've done a lot more deals, obviously, but yeah, it's just people think you're the authority. And when you say something because you're on TV, because they feel like they know you, once you say something to them, it's going to be way more credible than if someone off the street just came up to them and said, hey, here's how you do real estate. Right.
Absolutely. I call it instant credibility. It's like there's that know you, like you, trust you process we have to go through with people. And when they see you on the TV, you've already taken them there without ever meeting them because they get to know you. They kind of like you see on the TV. They begin to trust you. And you never even actually had a face-to-face conversation with them. And that's where you begin the sales process, which I just think is amazing. So let's go to number two. What type of competition are we seeing on TV, particularly utilizing it to generate motivated seller leads? What are we seeing around the country?
Little to no competition. People just think it's so expensive to do TV. People maybe don't feel like they have the face or the confidence or whatever it is to be on TV. So it's not like clicking a text message. It's not like buying a list and sending out a bunch of mailers. It's your face on the commercial, your brand on the commercial that people, I think, are just scared of doing for whatever reason. I don't know what it is, but just like radio, there's little no competition. Every once in a while, I'll see a commercial in my market, then I don't see it for long, or my team tells me about it. They see a commercial come up, they're like, hey, we've got a little competition, then all of a sudden they're off. It's like people don't know how to do it, or they don't have the confidence to do it. And it's a marketing method that literally no one's talking about. No one is talking about it except for the people that are now talking about radio. That are saying, hey, what else you got? And you're like, hey, maybe I've got TV. Let me find someone. So here it is.
The dots, man. No, I absolutely love it. So if I'm listening, I want to ask a couple kind of questions that I know people pop in their heads, right? So I'm listening, I'm going, so do I record the television ad with me in it, or is this like an animated ad? Because again, I know we heard you earlier say people recognize you, but what are the options if someone's listening going like, does it have to be me on film? Maybe I don't feel comfortable doing that. What are the options on the table?
That's a great question. So you can do it any which way. I've got a formula that I know that works. So I like to be on there for credibility, for people feeling like they know me also and not just the brand. So I would highly recommend anybody who does TV to be on the commercial. We've got students now that we're taking on that don't want to be in the commercial, and that's fine. So they can either use my commercial with my information and my branding, and or not their branding, but like my face and name if they want to. We've had it to where we've branded with someone and just use their picture in the commercial. That's better than nothing. But I would highly recommend being in the commercial. But if someone's shy, someone has a really thick accent, they don't feel like they want to be on TV or something like that. The students that I have, we produce the commercial to fit their needs, whether they want to be on TV and be the face of it, or if they just want their brand as a part of it.
The flexibility is there because people have different opinions on how they sound and how they want to be on video or not. So that's really cool. There's flexibility. I know another question, if I'm listening, I'm asking how hard, again, recording a radio ad, that seems like pretty reasonable to do, but like, the production of an actual commercial, like scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, man, this is difficult to do. How hard is it to produce a commercial, and is it really costly?
Well, the good thing is we produce the commercial for our students, so they don't have to go through all that. In fact, we even buy the ads for them. We buy the media. We do pretty much everything for them except for shoot the commercial and finalize their message. We've got scripts and things like that we can. We've got scripts and things like that we give our students that they just take basically our scripts, put it into their own brand, tweak it a little bit, and we handle most of that for you. But even when I first started and I didn't have any of that, it wasn't that hard. I wrote the script. I had my media guy go through it. He's been doing it for a long time. He's shot hundreds and hundreds of commercials. He talked me through it. The first time was like a little shaky, you know, I'm a little nervous. I'm not sure what to expect. And I walked out of there. I'm like, it's actually not that hard to do. And then 8 years later, 9 years later, it's easy. Like, honestly, he could hand me a script tomorrow and have never seen it before. I could pop on there and do it. It's once you do it like once or twice, it just becomes a lot easier. And the thing about TV is you don't have to memorize your script. When you see movies, people mess up all the time. Right. So when I go in there, there's days where I just crush it and one take and it's done pretty much. And then there's times where I fumble and I mess up, and it's all edited. It's all easy to edit. So it's really not as hard as you think.
Good. I mean, it's good to know, because I think, if I'm listening, I'm wondering, man, how complicated is it to produce it? So, and it sounds like you guys do so much in this process to help students get set up. So I think that's awesome. So I think the most important question always is return on investment, right? So again, we define that in our world with marketing by dollar per dollar return. If you're newer to real estate, what that means is for every dollar you spend in marketing, how many dollars do you get back? So Tony, you are a KPI guy. You track numbers like I do. What type of return on investment are you getting on TV? And again, I like to give people the conservative, no fluff, no BS amount. What are your KPIs?
Yeah. What I tell my students is if you're getting a 2 to 3 times return, it's worth it. There's so many other benefits that I'll hopefully talk about outside of just return on investment that aren't trackable that the TV brings. So if you can get a 2 to 3 times return on your investment, I feel like it's worthwhile. I tell my students to shoot for 3 to 5 times return. That's our goal. With tweaking it, eventually we should hopefully get you to somewhere between 5 and 10x, right? So plan on 2 to 3, hopefully get 3 to 5, and then eventually get to a 10x spot. And you asked me right before, you said, can you really say 10x? And I can, because last year in 2020, I just did my numbers and we did 11.2x return on our investment. And
Wow.
guess how much, and you know how much time I spent on that?
I'd love to know.
Probably an hour or two, the whole year. Seriously, I'm not kidding you. I shot, I think 2 new commercials in 2020. We ran all the other commercials that have produced for us and people have seen before. It took almost no time to do the TV other than my team answering the phone and doing the deals.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind me asking, how much do you spend on TV yourself? Again, a lot of people like to know, you're a seasoned guy, you've been doing this a while. What kind of money are you throwing around to see a 10x investment? I mean, it's amazing returns.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't have to spend a lot of money, right? So I've spent anywhere from $3,000 to $12,000. I've tested all different kinds of price points. So right now I've got dialed down to where we spend less money and we get the same results because of the way we tweaked our ads. And that's part of my system, is like, we know how to take what we've done and tweak it down to where we get a higher return on our investment. And so we're spending about $4,000 a month right now. That's it.
It's not reasonable. And again, it's the assumption about radio that kept everyone away. It's not affordable. And again, when I came in and started telling people that they could advertise on the radio, and start at 1,000 to 2,000, people were like, you can't be done. And then all of a sudden, people all over the country are doing it. It's the same assumption, it sounds like, with TV, which is probably even a greater assumption, because TV just sounds more expensive. And you're saying, hey, I play between 3,000 to, if I want to go heavy, I'm up to 12K. Right now you're around 5, 6, whatever you're at. I mean, it's just such a reasonable amount. I mean, people are spending more on that on direct mail, and you're not getting all the other benefits that we're going to keep talking about, which I think is amazing. So I love that. So let's go to number 4, right? A lot of people listening, don't have time to launch a marketing channel. That's going to be another job for them. A lot of students that I bring onto radio, they say this back to me all the time. They say, I wanted something that was set it and forget it. And so my question for you, television, how automated it is, what does that look like in that world? And I think as I'm asking this, we're already getting a sense of it, but I just want to come out and ask it and hear you say how automated this process is for TV to manage it long term.
Yeah, like I said, I think I shot 2 commercials last year, and actually it wasn't even towards, it was like mid to end of the year that I shot those 2 new commercials, just because I need to freshen it up a little bit. But I don't spend a lot of time on it. We look at our numbers every once in a while. honestly, I see, I see deals come in and I see TV. I usually don't check my numbers as long as I keep seeing TV as the lead source that comes through. I look at my data a few times a year at the most, right? So once you get, the biggest part of getting TV up and going is the initial part. It's the message, the production, what stations do I go on, what TV shows do I target, all of that. And that's something we do all of that for our students, right? We make it so easy to do that because we've been doing it for 8 years. My media guy that's on my team that helps produce the commercials and buys the media, he's been doing it for 20 years. He's got my data. He's been working with me. He's seen everything that I've done over the last 8 to 10 years that we've been on TV, and we plug it in. So it's set it and forget it. Just like you said, man, like, honestly, like this year, if I didn't look at TV till the end of the year, I bet we'd still be fine. I'd probably get still somewhere between a 5 and 10x return on my money. Now we're doing some extra things to dial our numbers down on some of our marketing. So I may look at it a little bit more this year, but it's not that much time and effort. I mean, you compare it to cold calling, texting. Every single day, you or your assistant or somebody has to be doing something. If you do direct mail, you spend money to buy a list, you produce a postcard, it doesn't work, you've got to go redesign a postcard. You've got to go buy a new list potentially. I mean, it's just so much less effort than any other marketing channel out there by far,
I agree.
with radio, of course.
Yeah, it's similar, right? I feel like as I hear you, this is the first time, for us to sit down and me to kind of do this podcast type feel. And I'm like, it's almost like I'm interviewing myself, the overlap and the similarities. And it's really exciting, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, I know it's got to be similar, but it's like, it's that similar. And it's just a whole nother channel that's now available for people that are looking for something fresh. So let's go to number 5 for today out of the 10. And that's where we'll start to wrap up. This is an interesting one. This is not one that I say, but I love that you brought it up. You talk about one of the 5th benefits of television is private money, like private lenders, stuff like, how is this working? Because again, anyone that's fixing and flipping, right? Not just wholesaling, or maybe doing a bird type method, et cetera, needs to raise private capital, right? It's got to start with that a lot of times. And you don't want to use hard money and pay 12, 14%, 2 and 4 points. So how are you using this to raise private money? This is fantastic.
Yeah. So most people are paying 12%, 2 to 3 points for hard money for the most part. There's private, experienced investors have private lenders that are less than that. So I'm paying 0 points, 9%. And I've got a ton of private lenders that a lot of them have mentioned that they've seen me on TV. So when I have that conversation, it's a lot easier for them. One instance in particular, though, and this has happened at least a couple of times, I had an investor walk into my office, say, "Hey, I've seen your TV commercial. I want to invest in real estate. What do you got?" And I'm like, we're talking about it. And I'm like, we don't really wholesale, but we have a private lending program. So within about a year period, he had several $100,000 invested with us. And then he brought in his parents who had another $1 million that they were investing with us within about a 12-month period, right?
Put a price tag on that. That's those ancillary benefits you get from doing authoritative marketing. This is what people can't quantify, right? This is what you're talking about, the ability to be magnetic and to attract these type of opportunities. I mean, what a great example of how TV has added on a value in your company that you wouldn't have got otherwise.
Absolutely. Yep. And, like I said, I've had conversations with other investors that I've been introduced to, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen your commercial." And not only that, but we put our commercial on our website too. And so when people see the website, even if they haven't seen the commercial, which I think most people have at this point in time. In fact, people sing our jingle to our guys that wear our logo on our shirt. They're like, I can't get that jingle out of my head. But yeah, man, it sticks with people. They trust you. They feel like they know you, and they're way more likely to invest with you if they've seen you somewhere else, especially TV.
100%, man. What a great marketing channel. I'm excited about this because we're in a new year. We're in 2021 now, and we're throwing out here a marketing channel that, again, is wide open, just like radio is. Now, I'm not going to wait. I know there's some people listening going, Dude, I've been waiting for this. Like, I'm chomping at the bit. Like, okay, I want to get this set up. Like, done. Like, I know how that is. I've been in that position where I've been waiting for something. So let's talk about this. You are doing a program to help people set this up, right? And what's interesting is this is kind of what's referred to as a done with you system. So let's talk about, as we're wrapping up today, if someone's listening going, dude, how do I get to Tony? Like, again, I've been waiting for this. What's the whole thing in the sense of supporting students through the process? You've got a coaching program ready to go. Like, this is fresh. Like, this is the first podcast about this.
Yep, absolutely. And I started as a kind of a done for you method, but it's like you said, a done with you, because there is a little bit of work you need to do in the front end. So like I said, to start with TV, you got to have a script. You got to have a production team to produce it. You've got to go to the stations and negotiate with the stations. You got to pick the right shows. You got to do all that. I've got 8 years worth of data where we do most of that for you. We will negotiate with the TV stations. We will get the best deals because we're doing this. We know what to ask the stations. We know what language to use. We produce the commercial for you. So once you shoot the commercial, we take it, we produce it, and we get it online for you. We'll help you come up with a jingle. We'll help you with a tracking number. We basically do most of it for you, and it's done with you because you have to pick the message and tweak it. We give you scripts. We give you the things that we've done in the past. We give you the commercials that have worked before, and we give you the commercials that haven't worked. So you know what to do and what potentially not to do. There's some things that we've changed up that we know don't work. And so we do pretty much most of that for you. So when you get into our program, basically within about 30 days, you should have a commercial up and running. You go do it yourself, it will potentially take you months, and you may not get the results you need, because if you go directly to the stations with TV, they're going to try and sell you their TV spots. They don't know what everybody else is producing or offering, so that someone like my media buyer that does the buying for you can look at the different stations and the different shows, compare them all, and make the educated decision and make sure you're getting the right thing.
It's exactly, I mean, I'm laughing. It's just like radio. You can't go and try to do this thing from scratch because there's too many variables. We've had people try, and I gotta commend you. If you can go figure out and do it on your own and not have to pay for it, do it. But as I do, it's going to take you way too long. And again, because it's like radio, there's so many variables you have to get right. And I'm sorry, a TV station rep doesn't know how to specifically set up television to generate motivated sell leads. I mean, you're selling all types of widgets and services. There's no way that they can understand uniquely every industry. Well, the last thing, and before we kind of throw out where people can go to kind of find you and so forth. And again, if you're listening, right, and you'd love to kind of see Tony and what this guy's about, particularly because we're talking about TV and it's visual, go to Chris Arnold Real Estate at YouTube and subscribe, and you can definitely see the video over there. But here's an important piece, and I love that you did this, Tony. You're doing exclusivity because you're going to preserve television just like I have fought to preserve radio. So this isn't free for all. They're going to have to come in, and there's going to be limited space per markets, right? It's going to work the same way.
Yep, absolutely. We don't want to flood the market too much, but there's so much room in TV right now that we can bring in probably 2 to 3 students per market. So yeah, there's exclusivity. That's part of what our program is. We don't want to flood the market with 10 to 15 investors doing the same thing. We just want 2 to 3 in each market, which there's plenty of deals for 2 to 3 students in each market to do.
Absolutely. So again, if you're listening to the podcast and you're tuning in today, this is the first podcast that's been done on this. So if you want to do TV, like, go, it's time. So again, everyone always asks me, Chris, like, can you get me, special deal with whoever we're working? Again, that's my responsibility. Everybody wants a deal and a promo code, etc. So to go to Tony and kind of set up a call and talk with him. I mean, literally, if you're listening to this podcast, like, you'll talk directly to Tony about this process. So go to realestateMastersTV.com/Chris. Again, realestateMastersTV.com/Chris. Go in, check out, again, landing page, take a look at this, do your due diligence. And again, as I always tell everyone, do your due diligence and make sure it's the right fit for you. But for some of you guys, I'm just excited, Tony, because I was telling you, you and I started a conversation because I was like, Tony, These people keep hitting me up for TV, like we got to do something. We got to present this. And, I need someone that can, do this, has the experience, and you do. So I'm really excited because I know that's going to provide value to the tribe. And 2021 was an exciting year for me because literally radio changed people's businesses. And I really believe that TV, and Tony, what you're doing is going to do the exact same thing again. So go check out the website, book a call with Tony. And again, jump in before the market starts selling now as well. So Tony, thanks so much for coming on. We're going to do part 2. So we will catch the rest of you guys next week. Tony, thanks for providing value to the tribe members. And to the rest of you guys, we will catch you soon and we will add more value. Talk to you later.
Thanks, man.